I'm Carolyn, and today I'm going to teach you how to make lasagna. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our onion and garlic, and I'm just going to go ahead and dice up an onion. Now I'm just using Barilla lasagna noodles, but you can make your own noodles, or you can use any variety. This just happened to be on sale. So I usually just read the back of the instructions and modify it accordingly. So we'll do that. I'm just peeling my onion. I'm just going to dice it in small pieces. This is a great meal to make ahead of time. If you have company coming later, you can even freeze this. It's a nice gift to drop off to somebody. And it's a delicious meal for the fall or winter especially. So I just have my cast iron skillet back here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on to like 7. I have my garlic. Just break up a couple pieces. And I'll go ahead and crush that in there. We'll go ahead and put a couple pieces of cloves of garlic in there. Ooh, that onion's making me cry. Ooh. And in the back here, you see I have a pot going for the pasta. We're going to cook that ahead of time. And I believe we're supposed to preheat our oven to 375. And we'll cook our pasta. Let's get this going with a little bit of our ground beef. I have a couple pounds of ground beef here. Actually a little more than that, but that's okay. You can use whatever. I usually just do a family size. We'll get that going. We'll cook that up and then we'll be back. And we're back, and our noodles boiled for 8 minutes on a gentle boil with a little salt. And now they're time to strain that. Just going to gently pour that into a strainer. Meanwhile, let's check our ground beef. We still have a little bit to go. Let that cook. Today I actually thought I'd make a vegetarian and a beef lasagna. So I have my vegetables. Why don't we go ahead and cut those up while we're waiting for our ground beef. I sliced this red pepper, and now I'm going to cut up a green pepper. I thought a yellow squash, a zucchini, and then I have some fresh spinach from the garden. Of course, everything gets an onion and garlic as well. So while we're letting that, and I had some marinara in the fridge from pizza the other night, so I'm going to use some of that for my lasagna. It's always nice to reuse, recycle some things that you have in the house. And then I have a couple canned tomatoes, jars of canned tomatoes I'm going to use. But if you don't have that, you can use crushed tomatoes and make a little marinara. Or I think the back of the recipe actually just says buy some marinara. But you know how to make it now. We've made it together several times. Just a little little onion and garlic, crushed tomato, salt, pepper, basil, and parsley. And just let that simmer, be 20 minutes, and that's your marinara sauce. So that's my zucchini there. And I'm just slicing it thin because I think when you're eating a vegetable lasagna, it would be nice not to have giant pieces. And these will cook up nice in the pan, just like our ground beef is cooking up for our meat lovers. That's pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and cut an onion. Oh, and I have a carrot I'm going to shred. So let's check this. I have some sea salt. So you can use any salt. Black pepper. Let's put a little basil and parsley in here for flavoring. Because we'll be adding some tomato from the garden that I have canned to this one. Let's just add some basil and parsley, salt and pepper right to this. And it's getting close. Almost there. So let's just grab the strainer and put our vegetables in here out of the way until they're time to cook those. So I have a nice carrot. I'm just going to slice that very thin. I thought that would be nice for our vegetable lasagna as well. Kind of doing a little bit of a julienne slice there, maybe a little bit of angle. This is a giant carrot though. You can use a couple smaller carrots too. And I guess you could shred them, but I just didn't think that texture would be nice for a vegetarian lasagna. I think we need something a little more substance to it. I like shredded carrots in my salads though. Chop it thin. That'll be fine. And now we need an onion still. Let's check our meat back here. That looks great. Has just a little bit more to go. The little bit that still has to cook up can cook up with our tomato. Now you can strain this and rinse it if you're concerned about fat in your recipe. But I'm going to leave it go. And then I'm going to add some marinara, or just tomato actually, crushed tomato. I'm probably about a can or a jar. I'm going to go ahead and cook that down a little bit more. We already have our basil and parsley. We can add a little more salt and pepper. The basil and parsley if we think we could use it in here. If you want to use some garlic powder, that's fine too. Just going to put some of my basics. Parsley and pepper, black pepper, and that's smelling great. So you see how you don't really have to have marinara already ready. You can just make it your own marinara right in there. And that's basil we dried together on another video from my garden, which is delicious. All right, that's doing great. Let's cut up an onion here, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and put together our first lasagna, I believe. We'll cut this onion up. We may have to when doing, we'll check it out. When we're doing the vegetables, let me go ahead and rinse this. If the spinach isn't, we're going to be cooking it with our vegetables, and sometimes spinach can be very watery. So if it's watery, we'll just strain it out. We have a nice strainer full of vegetables here, ready to go for our vegetarian lasagna. We'll clean up our workspace, and we'll be right back, ready to put together our lasagna. Hi, and we're back, and we're ready to put together or start our vegetable lasagna while our beef lasagna is in the oven. We're going to start with a little olive oil in our pan. We went ahead and washed that pan up. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil at the bottom, and we're going to put that on 7. I thought, oh, let's throw in a little bit more garlic, so we're going to go ahead and crush a couple cloves of garlic in there. So we have maybe 3 or so's going to be in this batch. Okay. And then while we let that heat up, we'll put our onions in and our carrots. They were on the top, and they're the hardest of our vegetables. We can go ahead and just dump it all in there. We'll saute that up, and when that starts to cook down a little bit, we'll add our spinach from our garden. I went ahead and washed that up and just broke it up a little bit. If I see one that has a little freezer or a frost on it, I'll pull that out. Meanwhile, I forgot to tell you, I do have the pot on. We're going to go ahead and boil our lasagna according to instructions. What's about 8 minutes on a gentle boil with a little salt. I'll add a little sea salt to our water, And that worked out really nicely for our beef lasagna, so I imagine this will work out great too. Okay, we'll be back. So our vegetables have been cooking for a little while, and I'm just going to add our spinach. I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. Is just piling it right on top and letting that cook down. And for our noodles, the water is boiling. I'm going to turn it down to medium, and then I'm just going to place them right in there, one at a time, and kind of crisscrossing them so that way they don't stick. And I did add a little salt to this. And I'm going to do the whole box because we pretty much used the other box for our beef. Yes. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and, we could cover this if we wanted to, but I think it'll be fine. And we'll put that on 8 minutes. Well, actually the timer's still on for our beef, so it's on 5, so I'll just add 3 more minutes to it. And we'll be back. Hi, and we're back, and we're ready to pour lasagna out of the oven. And I did check it, and it looked like it was still, I like it mine a little brown on top, so I put the oven on a broil for a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and turn the oven off. Looks pretty good. Well, there we go. That's our vegetable lasagna. Looks delicious. So we have our beef lasagna and our vegetable lasagna. I hope you enjoyed this segment of cooking with me. And if you did, you can look at our YouTube channel and find other cooking, freezing, and canning segments. And also our Facebook page, if you like it. You can like our page or leave a comment. So thanks so much. Enjoy your lasagna. Take care.